Begin by threading the needle. Tie a knot on the other end by wrapping around your index finger and then pinching between your thumb and index finger and twisting, and then pull the tail tight to create a knot. Next we'll place our hook on one side, and to conceal my knot I want to hide my thread insert at the seam and then come out with my needle in the middle of the eyelet of the hook and eye. She got away from me here. Next I want to insert the needle on the outside of the eyelet, bring it out to the inside of the eyelet. I'm trying to only catch the fabric on the hem. I don't want my stitches to show on what would be the face of the garment. I'll continue this stitch all the way around the eyelet, about 4 or 5 times, starting at the outside of the eyelet and piercing through to the inside of the eyelet and pulling the thread tight. Now I'm going to insert my needle at the base of the eyelet and insert it at the edge of the hem so that I can tack down the hook itself by sliding the thread underneath the hook. And now I'm going to insert at the bottom of the hook and come out at the top, making sure that my thread goes inside the metal every time to secure it down. For the final stitch, I want to insert at the base of the hook and then come out towards my bottom eyelet. So I've got it through the eyelet here, and now I need that tail to go underneath the hook as I tighten the thread up, and then I can finish off this last eyelet, just going around starting at the outside and bringing my needle out of the fabric in the middle of the eyelet. When I'm done with that, I'll insert my needle and give it a few twists around to pull a tight knot, and then once again insert my needle to hide my thread tail inside the hem. Next I'll tie another knot and begin sewing the eye. Insert my needle through the seam allowance and opening up in the eyelet to hide the knot. And then I'll switch the thing around so that it's easier for me to sew left-handed, and I'll insert my needle at the base of the eyelet and bring my needle out inside the eyelet, pulling the thread tightly each time until I've got about 5 or 6 stitches evenly dispersed around the eye. Then I want to tack the edge of my eye again towards the edge of the hem, so I'm going to do that same technique as before, putting a few little bar tacks around the edges of my eyelet to keep it secure for the wearer. And then once I have that tacked down, I'll finish this last eyelet. So I'll reposition my needle so that I can approach from the outside and bring my needle through on the inside of the eyelet, and then go back around a few times, finally sliding my needle through and giving it a few wraps before pulling a tight knot, and then finally reinserting the needle to pull out the tail. And there I have my installed hook and eye from the outside, and here you can see it clasps from the inside.